Well, hello, everybody. This is Mitch Weisberg here for MindShifting Mondays with Mitch, and I'm really happy this week because I have a person who I got to work with for about 3 or 4 months,
Mm.
and she's an instructional designer, and we worked together with a couple other people to transform the mind shifting mastering your resourceful brain course into something that people could learn online. So this is Taru Vitanen, and welcome to Mind Shifting Monday with Mitch.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
And you're coming from Finland,
Right.
and so it's Monday afternoon here in the New York area, but
Mhm.
it's let's see, so it's probably like 11 o'clock at night,
It's
right?
11 p.m. here in Finland right now, so
Uh,
not afternoon time.
right. So, well, thank you for staying up late and for talking. I
Of
really
course.
appreciate it.
Yeah, of
I thought
course.
it might be helpful to just talk a little bit about your background a little bit.
Mm.
And so go ahead. Maybe you could tell everybody a little bit about what you do and how you got there.
Yeah, of course. So about my background, yeah, I have a education, the master's degree from adult education, and I'm not too sure if you have that kind of degree in the United States, but here in Finland, it's more of like degree focusing on how people learn and develop throughout their whole lives. So the kind of like lifelong learning angle to the learning point. And yeah, about my background, before joining 3D Bear, which is the company I work for now, I worked for a Finnish technology company building online courses for different kind of learning needs and trying to turn the more complex and very technical concepts into usable and easy to digest concepts. So being around the like online course creation for quite some time right now. And yeah, go ahead
No,
if you.
no. I was just going to say so I'm not sure that we have a master's degree in adult learning in the
Okay.
U.S. We might, but
Hmm.
maybe you know, did you must have gone over in the classes and in real life, like what are some of the differences that you see between, uh, uh, I guess, adults when you're trying to teach something to adults versus kids when you're trying to teach something to kids?
Yeah, of course. There are some similar parts when learning new stuff, but with the adults, they already have some kind of background, for example, from their working life or the personal life, so much more than kids. So you need to take that one into account. And when it comes to like overall their course design in 3D Bear, we try to always make it doesn't matter if it's younger or the adults. We try to make everything very clear and have the like predictable structure. So it's kind of like reduces the cognitive load for the
Hmm.
learner. So it's easy to learn. And we have done the same thing with the mind shifting course. So for example, mind shifting, we have 6 modules and we have I don't know if you want to share the screen and
Sure.
show at some
Yeah.
point, but we have the like visual cues in the course to support the learning. We have the cues, for example, the key takeaways and the reflection parts and AI interactive exercises. So it's easy to follow the structure and know what to expect during the course. So.
So you brought up a term that I think some of the people listening here might be familiar with, but you brought up cognitive load.
Mm.
And when you're trying to teach people, why is it important to structure the material to lessen the cognitive load?
Because when if you have a very high cognitive load, you wouldn't have that much space to learn the stuff that you really need to learn. So we need to free the space for the important parts, which is the like trying to learn new stuff and not to use your like the cognitive space of the brain to trying to understand of the course, maybe like the structure or how you need to come
Mhm.
around with the materials. So it's not like important, so it's like waste of your I don't know, brain capacity
Right.
to
Hmm.
just trying to come around with the course content. So yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've learned, and it's actually in in the course and in the book,
Mm.
is that our brains have the ability to hold about five things in our active our active thought processes. We
Yeah.
say, five plus or minus two, so somewhere between
Mm.
3 and 7. So if you think, the way I think about it is, if you think about teaching somebody something, you teach them the first thing, you teach them the second thing, you teach them
Mm.
the third thing. Once you get to the fifth thing that you're teaching them, the brain can't be thinking of more things. So from an instructional design standpoint, there are techniques that you use in order to uh, consolidate that information, so it no longer has to be
Right.
held in, um, in your active memory. And I think, one of those things is practice, because if we practice something enough, then it becomes, I guess, muscle memory, you might call it,
Mm.
or part of our habits, or something that we're fluent in, and we no longer have to think about it. Uh,
Right.
and that was one of the things that, you built in a lot into the course, um, is making sure that people got a chance to practice things,
Mm.
and also a chance to use more than one way of the information coming in.
Yeah, exactly.
And you mentioned that,
Yeah.
could we demo something? So I think maybe what I'll do is I'll actually get, a lesson from the course,
Sounds
up
good.
here, so you can go through why you did various things.
Yeah,
So
that sounds good.
okay.
What
So
you said about the like reinforcement, it is
mhm,
one of the very big things or like themes during the course. So we try to go through the different concepts with, for example, stories from everyday life or with the historic events or something very like easy to digest and memorize, and then also have the like just traditional theory parts, then the interactive exercises, and also the like the big thing, the AI avatars there. So it's easy to memorize stuff and to have a like lasting impact on the things that you go through during the course.
I think the one of the things that you said early as you were talking is the idea of stories.
Mm.
So stories is another way of lightening cognitive load, because the human brain is designed to learn through stories, right?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
we when we think about, um, you know it when we think about something that we're learning, we the brain actively is telling stories about it. But if we
Mhm.
can, as instructional designers, throw in a story about how we use something, then it makes it more contextual, and it makes it a lot easier to learn.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
So let
good.
me, yeah. So I think people can now see the screen, right?
Yeah, I
So
think I can at least.
so I kind of, arbitrarily chose one of the lessons. There's 6 modules in this course, and so
Mhm.
this is lesson 6 of module 1, and it's on the freeze reaction. Taro, do you want to talk a little bit about the freeze reaction first, or do you want me to explain it?
Um, yeah, I could go through. So I think the freeze reaction is something that all of us are very familiar with. So it is kind of like survival mode that happens when you are under a pressure or in not so like nice situation. And for example, you are in a meeting or you have a very difficult conversation, and all of a sudden you just won't be able to say anything. You just your mind goes completely blank and you are just like unable to say anything. And it's the kind of like very unpleasant moment
Hmm.
when it happens. And I think we are all very familiar with that one.
Yeah, and then there are also instances of the freeze reaction that we don't necessarily think about freezing, but procrastination is a
Mm,
type of freezing reaction. So when
exactly.
we think, like, not that this had ever happened to me, but I may be thinking about going on a diet, and I'm thinking, something. So, no, it's not going to be that important. Just for tonight, I'm going to have an extra portion of dessert. Okay.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
will
kind of,
start on Monday.
yep. And that's kind of a form of procrastination. Or I have this difficult conversation I'm going to have with somebody, but you
Mhm.
know something, maybe I won't have it today. Maybe I'll have it tomorrow.
Mhm.
Or I have this job that I have to do, but you know something, I think that I I think I'll just go bowling right now, and I'll deal with this sometime in the future. So those are all different aspects of the freeze reaction.
Yeah.
And one of the things is, you know, sometimes the freeze reaction is the right thing to do. But
Mhm.
if we don't think about it, then sometimes we do the freeze reaction and it just seems like that's what we have to do, or that's what we're
Yeah.
going to do. But if we can have this self awareness and say, well, wait a minute, this is a survival reaction, this is the freeze reaction. What else can
Mhm.
we do here? Uh, we can learn to change our reactions to things that more align with our values, our major goals. So this happens to be a lesson on the freeze reaction,
Mhm.
and it starts off with a picture. What's the purpose of having a picture here?
Yeah, that is the one of the reasons why we have the like visual cues here to exactly to support the learning and have a more lasting impact, and also to be more interesting so that it doesn't just have the text. But most of the time we also have the kind of like information with the pictures so that it is not just a nice photo, but to have the kind of like one way of supporting the lasting learning. So it's just not nice add on there.
And then as adults, one of the things is we need the context, but we also, you know, learning something requires effort. And so
Mhm.
in order to exert that effort, we have to see why. We have to have a reason why we're going to do something. And so
Yeah.
you put these bullets in, why this matters. And then for every lesson, we start off with a video, which is another type of storytelling, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we do have the like short introduction videos at the start of all of the lessons to give the context of the upcoming lesson and to get like the right speed with the things and topics.
So I've never actually tried playing a video on screen share in a live event.
Oh.
So let's see if this is about a minute video, but it
Mhm.
sets a stage about why learning, why to learn this technique, why to learn about the freeze reaction, and we have one of these before every lesson. So
Mhm.
let's. Can you hear that? Oops, I didn't make it at
No.
the beginning. You cannot hear it. Let's see. Oh, that would be a shame if I'm gonna try it one more time.
Yeah.
Um, and it could be that sound doesn't get shared.
No,
Okay.
unfortunately, I'm
All
not
right.
able to hear.
So in this case, the AI avatar in this case is explaining a situation where you might freeze. In this case, let's say you were a salesperson and you had just made a presentation and everybody was nodding their head, and of course you're expecting that you're about to close, okay? And
Mhm.
then the person who's the decision maker says something that's completely unexpected. Like in this case, they might say, you know something, we love everything that you say, we're going ahead with it, and if you can just sign we're willing to sign the agreement today, but we need you to reduce your price by 50%. And
Mm.
that's the type of statement that might produce some type of a survival reaction in us. We might fight,
Mm.
we might want to run away, we might freeze, especially if we need this sale or we need this thing to happen. And so
Mhm.
the question is, how do you in that moment break through and access your resourceful parts of your brain so that you can proceed with something that you want to happen. So that's kind of the story
Mhm.
that these videos tell at the beginning of each lesson.
Yeah.
And then it says, the first topic here is putting freeze into context. Um, why is that important?
It's very important so that it just doesn't flow or just to like stay in very surface level, so that you get the right context and you get the like ideas on why I need to learn something, and why are these terms or concepts introduced here, so that you get the like right idea on why it's important for me, for
Mhm.
example. So yeah.
Okay. And then there's, there's information about understanding it.
Mhm.
There's information about how it relates to neuroscience. Why do we relate this to neuroscience at all? Like, why do we talk about the prefrontal cortex here?
Yeah, we talk about prefrontal cortex and also about the limbic system. They sound very, I don't know, frightening and also like very abstract concepts, but they come straight from psychology, and these are very important parts of the brain to understand, to be able to learn why we act certain ways, why we have the like flight fight modes, and
Mhm.
how to get to your into your resourceful, the prefrontal cortex. So that's why we introduce all these very difficult sounding concepts or words throughout the course, even though you get very easily around the more difficult parts as well. So.
Yeah, I think part of it is that, if you understand that there's science behind it, it gives you more confidence that trying it is something that's going to make a difference. And so we want
Mm.
to give people a lot of different ways to understand why this works, how this works, what they should do. And then in terms of practice, we want to give people a chance to not just see and not just watch a video and not just watch content and not just
Mm.
hear, but we want to give chance people a chance to use their to do to use this, the kinesthetic sense. And
Mm.
so you've put in a
There are
number of interactives here also.
Yeah, and these are most of the time the interactive exercises are scenario based. So we have some kind of like situation there, and then you need to like put together the theory that you have learned throughout the topics, and
Mhm.
then with the like everyday life situations or some kind of like events, so it's easier to learn the concepts when you get the theory parts, and then you need to apply them to like real life events.
And then so here you have some interactive exercises where you get to apply them. And
Yep.
then kind of like a magic, which I guess since you can't hear sound, we're
Mm.
not going to be able to play. But the AI interactive exercises, where again, we set up a scenario. In this case, it says, talk to Coach Robbie, and that's the AI coach, as if you were discussing a moment of difficulty with a coach. Describe a situations where a freeze occurred, such as going blank in a meeting or avoiding a task or seeing someone else. And then
Mm.
Coach Robbie kind of coaches you through how to become aware of the fact that you were going through a freeze reaction and some of the things that you could do to possibly get out of it, and also to recognize when somebody else is going through a freeze reaction.
Yeah.
So you would in the prompt it says, think of a moment when this happened, and then and also ask, think of the question like what triggered that freeze, what was said or done in that moment, and then share with Coach Robbie what happened, and then she coaches you through why this is the freeze reaction, how you could recognize it in the future, maybe what are some other situations that you might be going through that might be have the freeze reaction, how you might recognize those, and what you could do with them. So you get really a chance to try that in your own life. Why is that important to bring it home directly to the person?
Yeah, it's very important so that you get to get the chance to apply the things that you have learned into your own life. And when you have the conversation with Coach Robbie, as you can see there, it really feels like coaching, and that is something that we wanted to do. This is the kind of like design choice also in the course, to have the AI avatar act as the kind of like insightful person who will try to like get you reflect on different kind of things, and not just like give you answers or solving the problems for you, but to be the like kind of like a real mentor or a good friend who will just try to help you and make you think yourself and try to come up with the best solutions for your life. So
It's funny as you're talking, I'm thinking that was some of the most difficult things for me is working is training these AI coaches, because AI has this tendency to try to give you an answer.
mhm.
And what we really wanted in here was not for a course to give you an answer. What we
Yeah.
wanted was a course that gave you the ability to be able to get into your most resourceful minds, so that
Mhm.
whatever it is that you're doing, you can say, "Ah, that's just a, you know, I was in a freeze reaction, I was in a flight reaction, but here's how I can get out of it, and here's a technique in order to me for me to access my own resourcefulness, so that I can come up with my own different possible actions, and that will solve the problem."
Exactly. Yeah, I think that that is one of the like key challenges that we had while developing the AI avatars to be the best versions of the coach Robbies that we can get. So it's very nice to have them to be the kind of mentors and not the problem solvers, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and as we said, there's a lot of work. And then after you go through the exercise, we kind of go through, okay, so here's what you just practiced,
Mhm.
and then possibly some more techniques. Okay, this is kind of a review of the different things that you've been through, like how the types of statements that you can use um, to switch out of freeze mode, and then summary and the next steps, and then again, this is what, using a diagram, right? Because
Mhm.
a picture is worth what, 3 words.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that is something that we always have before moving on to the next lesson. We always have the like summary of the lesson and then the next steps on what to expect on coming next. So
So let me stop sharing, and just from a personal experience, because you started going through this and you hadn't really been through any of the mind shifting material, and then you just spent like 3, 4, 5 months buried in it, right?
mhm.
What did you find that you were able to apply, let's say, in your own work or your own life through some of the mind shifting techniques?
Yeah. I think while I was building the mind shifting and getting to like more familiar with the mind shifting book, one thing that I always said to you was like, uh, I think that everyone should go through this course, and it has just so many very useful and important concepts. And it's very difficult to pick one, but if I'm thinking about the different modules, there is the module 5, which is focusing on, for example, the 5 stage powers.
Hmm.
And there is one which is empathy. And it sounds very easy. And I think everyone understands that you should be like empathic for yourself and also for others. But I think one of the like biggest ways I have used mind shifting after building the course, both professionally and also personally, has been around empathy. So I think I have become much more aware of like how quickly the empathy disappears when a
Right.
person is, for example, under pressure
Hmm.
or in a survival mode. And that is something that I didn't realize before, that when you are, for example, under a pressure and you don't have the empathy for yourself or for others, you are not the person you want to be. Like you might slip into very defending mode or become very blaming or like withdrawing, or how it's the ways that everyone reacts in like difficult situations. So what mindshifting has given me is the kind of like ability to pause and just like reflect on what I'm feeling, and also to like, instead of just like straight reacting, more to check with myself and be like, okay, what I'm actually feeling, and just calm down a bit And in a like professional way, I think this has helped me navigate with, for example, with very difficult conversations. So previously, I think I have been the person who will just like get the silent frustration and be like, ah, I'm annoyed to certain person. But now I think after learning about the empathy more, the kind of like very difficult conversations have become more constructive. And then also personally, I think what it has given me is to not be so harsh on myself and just be like more like understanding, I think. So it has given me a lot, but I think this one is the maybe the most important one.
As you're talking, I was thinking, boy, it must have been really difficult to work with me. And so maybe learning how to recognize, oh my gosh, Mitch is being really difficult. Instead of going into fight, flight, or freeze mode, let me take a pause and figure out if even with him I can be empathetic, right?
No, I don't think it has been difficult. I think at first, as it would like every person, and if you get to know some new people, you need to find the like right rhythm of like working together and maybe defining the structure. For example, here with the course and defining the priorities of the each module. But after we did some trial and error and got on the right speed, I think it has been very pleasant to work together, and it has been like very great to work with someone who has such a deep
Hmm.
understanding of the whole mind shifting concept, and also as a professional to get so constant and constructive feedback, which is not like something that you usually get when you do your work. So yeah, it has been a pleasure for me to have the like maybe
That
four
that
or
is
4 months.
that is so kind of you to say. Thank you. Thank you. Have you had a chance to talk to people who have been through the material at all? Have you gotten any feedback from people who've taken the course?
Yeah, I have. I think most of the feedback that I have heard from people who have taken the course has been that the course is very encouraging and it's very engaging. And even though, like, some of the people who have said that they are not that tech savvy and they
Mm.
were a bit afraid of like whole online course and all the interactive exercises and the AI avatars, like how can I like get the right understanding of the technology and use it in the right way. Even they have said that it's very quickly to find your way around the course. And I think one of the maybe nicest feedback I have heard has been around the AI avatars
Mm.
and how it's like very how you say it's just like you can be so freely yourself and speak about things that you wouldn't maybe want to speak with your colleagues or friends or partners. So it's just like uh, so nice, the whole atmosphere there, that you get the chance to be yourself. So it's very nice to hear that people have had
Yeah.
the kind of conversations that you would have with the right like real mentor.
Yeah, I actually, and there goes my phone, of course. I actually had a conversation with somebody who was, I think he's about 55 years old, and and is in a position now where he has to look for a job, which is really difficult for somebody
Mhm.
who's over 50, who's used to being very successful, and the job market is very tough. And he was going through the course, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I now realize how often." I was just reacting to people and
Yeah.
not really understanding where they were coming from and not coming up with different things that I could say to them. I thought a person said something, they're just a jerk, or a person said something and it's like, oh, that means I'm not capable. And I realized that things like that are just survival reactions, and I now can calm myself and I can think of, well, what would make this fun, or what could I do differently, or
Yeah,
what could be
exactly.
another interpretation, and knowing how to calm myself and ask those questions is making a huge difference. So
Hmm.
that's kind of the feedback, the type of feedback that I was getting. I put the QR code here on the screen, so if people are interested in taking the course, and that QR code gives you a chance to either a 1 month or a 3 month subscription for the course. It's from the people who I know have taken it, it's somewhere between 20 and 28 hours worth of material if you want to do the whole thing. So there's a lot of material in there. So
Yeah.
um, so what advice, or what would you say, because we're running out of running towards the end of